Hello everyone, welcome back to A Lesson a Day. I'm Nafis and today we are going to discuss the chapter Nutrition, or more specifically, this is the second part of the chapter Nutrition. So without any further ado, let's begin with our lesson. In the last video, we discussed about carbohydrates and today we're going to start from fats. Now, what are fats? Fats are organic compounds made up of the elements carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So they have similar elements in them as in carbohydrates, but the difference is that unlike carbohydrates, they contain much less oxygen in proportion to hydrogen. So in carbohydrates, as we saw that the hydrogen and oxygen were present in the ratio 2:1. In case of fats, it won't be the case. Now, for example, tristerin or beef fat, with the formula of C57, H110, and O6. Now we can clearly see that hydrogen is in a large or huge amount compared to that of oxygen. Now, what will we get if we hydrolyze fats? When our fats are hydrolyzed, for example by lipase, they yield fatty acid and glycerol. For example, tristerin plus water would give us glycerol plus stearic acid. Now we should know that stearic acid is a type of a fatty acid. Now, moving on to the functions of fats. Fats not only serve as an efficient source and storage of energy, but also they act as an insulating material, especially under the skin, to prevent excessive heat loss. They are required as a means to restrict water loss from the surface of the skin. For example, in your face, sebaceous glands secrete oil to prevent your skin from getting dry. They are also an essential constituent of protoplasm, especially in the protoplasmic membrane. They serve as a solvent for fat-soluble vitamins or vitamins. Now, types of fats. There are mainly two types of fats, the saturated fats and the unsaturated fats. The types of fats occurring in animal bodies are called saturated fats. They come with a fatty substance called cholesterol. Now, cholesterol may get deposited in your body, leading to heart diseases, etc. Now, a saturated fat is that fat whose fatty acid chains cannot take pairs or more pairs of hydrogen atoms. Saturated fatty acid chains are usually straight. Now, vegetable fats are unsaturated fats. They don't cause any heart diseases and there is no cholesterol coming along or tagging along with them. Unsaturated fatty acid chain is capable of taking in pairs of hydrogen atoms. Unsaturated fatty acid chains bends at places where hydrogen atoms can be taken in. Now, the foods in which fat nutrient occurs includes butter, cheese, fatty meat, olives, many nuts and seeds of castor oil, palm oil, liver of many fishes, etc. What we are going to talk about now is the nutrient protein. Protein are very complex organic substances containing carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. Now we should know that sulfur and phosphorus are also found in a molecule of protein sometimes. Their molecule are the most complex and largest of all other nutrients. Every protein molecule is made up of a simpler compound called amino acids. Now, an amino acid contains an amino group, an acidic group, and a hydrocarbon side chain that is noted by R. There are 22 naturally occurring amino acids in plants and animals. The amino acids are condensed together to form a protein molecule. Now, in the above picture, you can clearly see that how an amino acid looks like, or what does it contain. As the amino acid gets condensed together, forming between them is a peptide bond. If three or more amino acids are held together by a peptide bond, it is called a polypeptide or peptone. Now we should know that poly means many, and many peptide bonds is what polypeptide means. A polypeptide may end up forming a large chain, and the highest possible units of amino acids to be in a chain is 500. A protein is made up of many of chains or a single chain. Now, protein deficiency. An average adult requires about 50 to 100 grams of protein a day. Any amount less than that, and we are going to suffer through protein deficiency disease called Cash-Yorker, which may lead us to having scaly skin and swollen abdomens. Now, talking about the functions of protein. Protein not only is an essential thing for our protoplasm, but also for growth, repair of one or parts of the body. Protein is used for synthesis of enzymes and hormones. It is also used in the formation of antibodies to combat diseases. And it's also required as a source of energy. Now let us get to know vitamins or vitamins. A vitamin is an organic molecule that is an essential micronutrient which an organism needs in small quantities for the proper functioning of its metabolism. They are organic compounds that are not built in a definite pattern like carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Now, there are mainly two types of vitamins. Those are the fat-soluble vitamins and the water-soluble vitamins. Vitamins that are soluble in fat are called fat-soluble vitamins. They can be stored in the fat of the body. Vitamin A, D, E, and K are some fat-soluble vitamins. Water-soluble vitamins, on the other hand, are those that are soluble in water, and they cannot be stored in the body, and so have to be supplied with the daily diet. And for example, vitamin B and C are some water-soluble vitamins. What we're going to do now is that we're going to talk about each of the vitamin with its sources, functions, and deficiency diseases. Now, vitamin A. Some sources of vitamin A are dairy products, fish liver oil, green leafy vegetables, and other things, etc. Function. Now, the vitamin A is needed for the formation of a light-sensitive pigment in our retina of our eye. So, it is a common sense that if vitamin A is in a deficit or it's lacking in our body, it will cause night blindness. Now, vitamin B1 or thiamine, it's found in peas, eggs, milk, meat, nuts, beans, etc. It helps the body cells to change carbohydrate to energy, and if it's missing, it will cause a deficiency disease called beriberi. Now, vitamin B2 or riboflavin, green leafy vegetables, fish, liver oils, nuts, and beans are some sources of vitamin B2. It acts as a coenzyme in oxidation reduction process in our body, and if it's missing or it's lacking, skin disorders and chyliosis will occur. Now, vitamin B3, green leafy vegetables, fish, liver, nuts, and beans, and other milk products may help in gaining this vitamin. Function of this vitamin is that it helps the body to convert food into glucose by acting as a coenzyme. Now, if its deficit occurs in our body, it will cause indigestion, fatigue, and canker sores. Now, vitamin B5, also known as pantothenic acid, green leafy vegetables, fish liver, nuts, and beans and milk products may help in gaining this vitamin. It's required to produce energy. It may lead to having fatigue, insomnia, depression, vomit, and stomach pains if we lack vitamin B5 in our body. Now, vitamin B6. Some of its main sources are fish, peanuts, soybeans, oats, bananas, etc. It helps in making antibodies, and if its deficit occurs in our body, it can cause skin rashes, cracked lips, corners, etc. Now, talking about vitamin B12, folic acid, which is also known as folic acid. Now, meat, fish, milk, cheese, eggs, some fortified breakfast cereals are some sources of gaining this vitamin. It helps to keep our body's blood and nerve cells healthy, and if deficiency of this vitamin occurs in our body, it will lead to weakness, tiredness, or lightheadedness. Now, vitamin C, which is also known as ascorbic acid, can be gained by eating fresh fruits or citrus fruits, more specifically like lemon and oranges, and also by green leafy vegetables. It's needed for the formation of intercellular substances and to keep our epithelial tissues healthy. Now, deficiency disease of this vitamin is scurvy, causing swollen gums and losing of teeth. Moving on, vitamin D. Sunlight, fish liver oils, milk, egg yolk, etc. are some sources of this vitamin. Now, the thing is that if we get enough sunlight throughout our day, we don't need any food which gives us vitamin D, because sunlight converts a natural substance called ergosterol in our skin to vitamin D. So someone who gets enough sunlight does not require the foods which give us vitamin D. Now, the function of its vitamin is that it helps the body to absorb and retain calcium and phosphorus, which are both critical for building bones and teeth. Now, vitamin D deficiency has been associated with rickets, leading to poor teeth and bone formation in a child, which may result in crooked knees. And in adults, it causes a disease called osteomalacia, which leads to softening of the bones in adults. Now, vitamin E, which can be gained from vegetable oils, nuts, green leafy vegetables, and etc. Its function is that it acts as an antioxidant, helping to protect cells from damage caused by free radicals. Now, its deficiency disease is that it may cause chronic pancreatitis and cystic fibrosis. Now, vitamin K can be gained from green leafy vegetables such as broccoli and spinach, and it's needed for blood clotting and the building of bones. And the deficiency of vitamin K may lead us to diabetes, chronic kidney diseases, and cystic fibrosis as well. Now we are going to talk about a very important nutrient, which is water. Water is an inorganic nutrient substance composed of the chemical elements hydrogen and oxygen. The hydrogen and oxygen are present in the same ratio, that is 2:1. Water makes up about 70% of the body weight of a human. Now, talking about the functions of water, water serves as a medium in which various chemical reactions in an organism occurs. It serves as a transporting agent for digested food products, excretory products, and hormones. It also serves as a major component of lubricant found in joints, blood, and digestive juices. It is needed for hydrolytic reactions and many other things. Now, the requirement for water. The amount of water needed in the body depends on the activity of the person and the environmental conditions. A normal, healthy, and ordinarily active adult in a temperate climate requires about 3 liters of water a day. Now we will talk about the micronutrient, mineral. Now, mineral elements are inorganic salts which don't provide energy at all, but they are indispensable to bodily functions. Some minerals are required in great quantities than others. Calcium, phosphorus, sodium, chlorine, potassium, and iron are such minerals. Let's talk about iron and calcium. Now, calcium, its main sources are milk, cheese, small fish, cereals, soybeans, etc. It's required about 1 gram a day for growing children and may depend on a person's health conditions. For example, pregnant women may require more. Now, function of it is that it helps in building bones and teeth, normal functioning of muscles. And iron, talking about iron, liver, red meat, egg yolk, dark green vegetables may lead us to gaining iron, and about 0.02 gram a day in average adult it is required and may depend on the health condition. For example, sick people or pregnant women may require more. Iron is required for the formation of hemoglobin, myoglobin, and certain enzymes as well. Now, many people get confused about the thing called trace elements. Now, minerals to be needed in minute quantities are called trace elements. So the thing is, like, mineral itself is a micronutrient, and in minerals, some minerals are required even less in quantity than others. Those are called trace elements. Now, for example, iodine, zinc, and manganese are those trace elements. Now let's talk about roughage or dietary fiber. Dietary fiber refers to fibrous materials, for example, cellulose present in our daily food. It is important because it provides bulk of intestinal content and helps in the peristalsis, leading to prevention of constipation. Some examples of roughage include fresh fruit, cereals, vegetables, bran, wholemeal bread, etc. Now, some fruits which you should eat to gain fiber are raspberries, pear, orange, strawberries, banana, etc. Now, the concept of macro and micronutrient is quite important. Now, macronutrients are those nutrients that are required in large quantities in our body. For example, carbohydrates, proteins, water, fat, and roughages are those nutrients. Now, on the other hand, micronutrients are those nutrients that are required in very small quantities in our body. Now, for example, vitamins and minerals are micronutrients. Thank you everyone for listening to me, and I'll be back soon with the third video on the chapter nutrition.